Hello YouTubers, Troz here, playing some more Kerbal Space Program. Here we are with the Minmus Return 2, orbiting Minmus still. Last time we managed to grab the orange tank here. You can see it's safely inside the cargo bay. Barely, but it's inside. And it's time to head home. But first we have a few things to do. In particular, we want to send the original Minmus Returns, or Minmus Return, back first. It's basically the same design. So this will allow us to test to make sure everything's going to be okay. I think the only difference is this is slightly shorter. The Minmus Returns 2 has another large cargo bay, and it's short, or let's say it has less parachutes by 3, I think. The Minmus Returns 2, I added an extra set of parachutes just because it's going to weigh a little bit more. So let's plot a course to get these guys back. We have Bill and Raimi here. And if I zoom out enough here, there's Kerbin. Let's get rid of all those debris. So we're basically at the worst time to try to, well, not exactly the worst time, but we want to head out something like that. So that, let's click periapsis here, and that should right click. There we go. You can watch that go down. And it's actually not going down too much. Well, we want to escape, and then we'll plot a different course. Let's if we adjust this so we're going more straight back, I think that'll be a little more efficient. And we can add a maneuver here. And this will allow us to get... Oop, that's a little too close. And 83 is a little too high. We want about 30. That should be good. Thing is, that's 10 days out. So we'll leave the other ship in orbit here for that time. How are we doing? We have a little monopropellant at this point. So we're gonna just do this all using our torque wheels. What are they called? Reaction wheels, of course. And at some point we need to get rid of this lower cone here. But I want to do that basically on our way to Kerbin so that it will burn up. Come on, turn back. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's zoom back in here. Getting Minmus Return 2 is going to be a little trickier because it's on an inclined orbit. But that's okay. We'll figure something out. So let's click here and just say warp to next maneuver. That will have us come around, do an orbit. Well, now we're about a minute out. Of course, we're not lined up anymore. So we're going to line up. This does not appear to be a big burn at all. So I'm just going to wait till about 10 seconds or so. Throttle up to about half. And just see where that takes us. If we're off a little, that's alright. We can do a correction. We have actually plenty of fuel at this point. So we're about ready to go now. Just trying to keep on that target. Cut. Okay, our next burn is 161 meters per second, which is a little less than 3 times what we just did. But as you can see, we basically used hardly any of our fuel. See, that's still putting us... we're a little high, 48, but we can just adjust that a bit. 39, 32. I think that will be good. And yeah, about half a meter per second more. So basically not much. So that's in a day. So let's time warp and we can watch Minmus Return 2. Orbit around a few times as we leave. We're heading backwards actually relative to Minmus, but we're actually still going around Kerbin in this same direction. We've slowed down, but not nearly enough to reverse our direction, even though it looks like we have from this point of view. And let's just speed this up a bit more because it's going to take a while. Okay, we are about to change spheres of influence. And we still have an hour until our burn. So let's try to get there. In fact, let's just say warp to next maneuver so we don't miss it. Now this is showing a 22-second burn. And that's at full, so we're going to start at about, let's say 12 seconds. And I'm just going to go full. And then as we get close, I'll throttle down a bit so we get an accurate burn. And I'll probably do this one from the map view so I can actually watch our periapsis come in. Alright. That's just about lined up. We got about 10 seconds or so. If I right click there, alright, and let's start burning now. Alright, slowing down. And we're just watching. Whoa! Well, we were just watching, and we watched it go a little bit too far. We do have RCS, though. So I'm going to get rid of that. Let's turn on RCS and use it to boost back up. $32. Turn off RCS. That didn't use very much RCS at all. So we are now 8 days out. Now theoretically I can go back here and start sending the Minmus Returns 2 back. And they'll be far enough apart, or at least they should, that there won't be any issues. But I don't want to happen to skip off the atmosphere now. I don't think we will. We're going pretty deep. But if we skip off and have to go around a few times, I don't want to get caught out where we have both rockets basically trying to re-enter at the same time, and that would be bad. However, let me do one thing in the meantime. Let's go back to the Space Center. Actually, two things in the meantime. Let's go to the tracking station. No, I want these sorted differently. Moon Station Lab Base. Let's go fly you. Not that you're actually flying. Alright, it has almost collected 500 science. And I'm not sure how, but it's getting 10 science a day, which is really good. It is the middle of the night, though, so it's a little hard to see what's going on, but I'm going to transmit our science back. Oh, these can... Ah, I know what happened. The labs were buffed up a bit in the 1.1 release. They can now hold more data and they generate science a bit quicker. In fact, it's, I would say, basically doubled. They can still only hold 500 science, but they used to hold 500 data as well. That's been boosted to 750. And we used to only get 500, 5 science a day, 500. But now we're getting 10. So let's transmit the science back before we can't hold anymore and stop research. Somewhere there's an antenna extending and transmitting the science back. And while we're at it, we should look back at the Minmus station to see how that is doing. You can see our electric charge is dropping rapidly, and that's from both transmitting and from running these drills, which I will stop. Stop. And let us stop that. Although apparently transmitting takes quite a bit of electric power. Wondering if boarding. Okay. We'll have to come back when it's daylight. I'm not going to time warp here at this time because that could cause problems for our landing craft. The Minmus Return 1. And I thought we... Well, I think we launched this before we had any of the fuel cells, which we could use to turn fuel into electricity so we could continue transmitting. I don't think we have any fuel, or we didn't have fuel cells when we launched this. I believe we do now. So, have to come back here. I believe it's a day to rotate around into the sun, or something like that. Let's go back to the tracking station and check out the Minmus station. Minmus, not Moon. There we go, Minmus station. See how you are doing with science. Okay. Not much science, only 500, but we have lab already has this data. That looks like a whole lot more data. But that is actually more data than we can store. Say keep experiment. Keep experiment. Can we just... Where are our... Lab already has this data. View. Lab already has this data. Where's our other science gizmos? Really help if it was daylight. This may be another thing we have to come back to. Lab already has this data. Can we just take a crew report? Lab already has... We're not even mad. Okay. However, what we can do... what am I even looking at? Switch to the Minmus Rover. Minmus Rover is nearby. And doesn't have any lights at all. Well, I can't say it doesn't have any lights at all. Just not ones that light the way. Let's leave that on for now. So we need to take one more reading. How are we... I'm not going to ask how we are keeping electricity going. We do have a little bit of monopropellant now. Let's stop the harvester and retract the drill, and I believe, well, we should stop this. And this will be a bit risky, but let's turn off the brakes and instead attempt to drive forward. I think we're going forward. It's hard to tell. I know this probably looks bad on YouTube, but look, hey, we're going past a rock. And apparently we keep doing wheelies. Oh, what happened there? We caught an... Well, that was not good at all. But, not much we can do about it now. We lost our whole mining drill. But we still do have some solar panels. We still have power. Not sure what happened. We went from like sliding around. We had slid sideways a few times, but that time we just seemed to start to tip over and wasn't fast enough to recover it. I think we're going to have a little bit of an extra long episode here. So I don't want to end with kind of a, I won't say a disaster, but we had such high hopes for this, trying to recover science. We'll still be able to get some science. But I was hoping to use this to drive around, collect science, and bring it back to the station. It's going to be a lot harder now. Although not impossible. We're getting close. How close are we? I'm guessing that was just from speed. The parts would break after they got going quicker than a certain amount of speed and hit the surface, so I'm going to try going pretty slow at this point. In fact, as soon as we get an indication that we're in the area, which should be, well, I would say it's soon, but I'm actually not sure how far away it is. I wouldn't think it's more than a kilometer. In fact, I would think it's just a few hundred meters ahead, but I have no actual way of knowing at this point. And I can't really get going too quickly because every time I try to accelerate, I wind up tipping. We basically don't have enough weight to counterbalance. Or basically our wheels are nearly at our center of gravity at this point. Still do have the one set of solar panels though, so we can... Oh, what am I... It's actually useless at this point. Let us stop here. We no longer have the temperature sensor. So let's abort. At this point. Yeah, great little spiral. How much? We got a decent amount of fuel. How far were we? Not too far, but far enough. I mean, we can take a surface sample. But we really need is temperature. Alright, we're 7.2 kilometers away. Let's head back there. Yeah, alright. Well, next time we know. Hopefully the ladder is on this side. And it is. Let's grab the ladder. Grab. I said. Grab. Board. if I come down here and say board. Let's add that. Okay. So our data rate is now up quite a bit. Well, that took a lot longer than I had planned. Let's head back and go back to the Minmus Return. Which basically hasn't moved. We may have lost the rover, but we did at least save some science and was able to bring the Kerbal back unharmed. Alright, there's Minmus. There's Kerbin. Let's add a maneuver there. And just say warp to next maneuver. We're 29 minutes out. Let's face retrograde. How are we doing on everything? Alright, let's see how this is going to work, and hopefully come on, let's hopefully nothing goes wrong. We're gonna stage here and release this cone, which at this point should burn up in the atmosphere. Alright, let's just manually decouple. Okay, that's basically what I was afraid of. This is technically attached to here, but they kind of overlapped. They are separate, though. This is going to be fun. Actually, I think I know how to save this. If we time warp, they will just drift through. Okay. We are coming in on the dark side. Not over anything recognizable. Mostly ocean, I think. Here's the big crater. KSP is actually nearing sundown, so we're not going to land anywhere near the Space Center. We have a bunch of fuel. Let's say warp to here. Alright, we're about 100,000 up. Go to retrograde. Let's try to slow down with what remaining fuel we have without really changing our trajectory. Which I think... No, that's... We want to fire... We want to point up more. Alright, so we're slowing down, but raising our periapsis. I said raise our periapsis. Ideally, we leave it somewhere in the mid-30s. Too low and we slow down too quickly, generate too much heat. Too high, we don't slow down enough. And we make another end around. We have lost about 100 or so meters per second. No more than that, closer to 200. So that's good. And we're almost out of fuel now. So we're lighter. I think we're over 300 meters per second down now. Probably get about 400. Okay, engine off. That should be the parts we left behind. Retract the panels. So I didn't realize how low we were. Retract them before they break. We're probably going to lose our landing gear, but I'm okay with that. I'm actually going to try to save our engines. Well, that was a bit rough. Oh, what is this? It's heating up. That's this whole cone, which would be bad. Okay, I think that just means we Our... No. We may actually be coming in. No, you... Don't turn. Don't... Why are we going sideways? This is pretty bad. We are not aerodynamically stable. Although we seem to be slowing down, although we're glowing pretty hot. Not sure what that... Alright, these parachutes should slow us down and get us stable. Not sure how we survived. We're... Sure where we... Oh, we're pretty far from Kerbal Space Center. Alright, we are good for our other parachutes now. These first drogue chutes should open momentarily. There they go. They'll slow us down a bit. And now in a few seconds the rest will open. We're about 70 meters per second. Here they go. Ooh. We're coming down at just under 8 meters per second, which is kind of the impact speed of danger. Let's time warp a little bit. Hopefully we'll be closer to 7 when we actually hit the surface. Alright, we're down to 100 meters per second. We're at about 7.5. And here comes splashdown. Alright, let us recover the vessel. That was about the most dangerous return I've had in quite a while. And yeah, we basically didn't get much science from it, but that was not the point. We didn't get much funds from it either. We were very far from KSC. But we did get Raimi Kerman and Bill Kerman back. And I'm going to call that an episode, an extra long episode. Next time we will attempt to recover Minmus Returns 2. And hopefully that will go better. I'm not actually sure, though, seeing how this one performed. Not well aerodynamically. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Kerbal Space Program. See you then.